The 1935 Eifelrennen by Johannes Lacroix. Hi all, welcome to a new episode of Grand Prix 80th Anniversary, and today's episode is the Eifelrennen. Here we see the start line, or the starting, and the official program. If you are unfamiliar with this series, basically, it's a series where I review Grand Prix races that happened exactly 80 years ago to the day. Fun fact that this picture was taken during the 1934 Eifelrennen. Last week we reviewed the 1935 running of a minor race in the Isle of Man in Britain called the Manning Moor. I did put it on YouTube, although it was really late because it was private. I never noticed that. But here's an image from it. But today we return to the Nazi Germany for an even bigger race, the race of the Eifel Mountains at a famous circuit, the Nurburgring. Very well known, this track. The Nurburgring is one of the biggest tracks in Germany, being 14.2 miles long. It means in German, Circuit of Nurburg. What we see is this message here and the Nurburgring. And this message means no driving on the Eifel Mountains without a lap on the Nurburgring. The 1935 Eifelrennen was held on the same weekend as the famous 24-hour Le Mans race, which attracted big crowds. However, the entry list for the Eifelrennen was also respectable despite the Le Mans race. However, there is a major person we won't be seeing today because he's doing speed record attempts with a Ferrari Bimotore in Italy. And I hope you can recognize that person from past episodes. Now, there were some new faces in this race, including Paul Pietsch, a man who's only 23 years old. Actually, this is Paul Pietsch. In 4 days from now, he will be 24, though. And he's making his debut with Auto Union, and Hermann Lang, who's stepping out of the Mercedes-Benz garage and going into the 1934 Grand Prix car. So he's not driving the most up-to-date car, but he's driving for Mercedes. Manfred von Braukitsch hadn't been at the Nürburgring since an accident he had in the 1934 running of the Eifelrennen, and he immediately set the second fastest time of 10 minutes and 45 seconds. Sure missed this track. I guess he did. He managed to be even faster than Caracciola, his more successful teammate, and Heinz Stuck from Auto Union. On Friday, the first day of practice, Achille Varzi took ill, so he didn't drive for that day. He felt better the next day, but it was raining on Saturday, so nothing much could happen. And now, without further ado, here is the starting order of the race of the Eifel Mountains. It's the starting grid there. In row 1, we have Heinz Stuck in his Auto Union, and behind him are Manfred von Braukitsch and Rudolf Caracciola. Heinz Stuck must be aware of the two attacking Mercedes-Benz cars. "I'm enjoying this track already," says Manfred, and Rudolf says, "The Nürburgring master is here." And the reason why he said that is because Rudolf Caracciola was the Nürburgring master. He had won at the Nürburgring 6 times before this point. And row 2. Now, if you remember from the Avus race on May 26th, you will remember that Louis Chiron and Achille Varzi used to be great partners. They meet again now in the famous Alfa Romeo Tipo, and Achille Varzi in his Auto Union. And in row 3 we have 3 cars, and Luigi Fagioli is one of them, and he's in his Mercedes-Benz, and he's got catch-up work to do. There's Renato Balestrero in his Alfa Romeo Monza, and this time I'm actually here. That's because he was speculated to participate at the Avus race, and he didn't. And then there's Pierre Taruffi in his Bugatti, the latest Bugatti, Type 59. He's entering in for the Bugatti race team. In row 4, we have 2 cars. We have debutant Herman Lang, the Mercedes-Benz W25. Wish me luck. And there's Laszlo Hartmann in the Bugatti Type 51. I have returned from Avis. In row 5, we have 3 cars. We have the Scuderia Subalpina cars of Goffredo Zehnder and Felipe Tansalan. And in between them lies Bernd Rosemeyer, who needs to redeem himself for the mistake he made at Aarhus. So, let's see if he can redeem himself, or if he doesn't. We have row 6, which is 2 cars. And René Dreyfus is one of them. He's the other Ferrari driver today in the Alfa Romeo Tipo. And how did I end up here? And then there's Dudley Froy from one of the heats of Aarhus in the Bugatti Type 54. And rounding out the field is Paul Pietsch in the Auto Union. The race will start in 20 seconds. Red light. Yellow light. Geez, this is taking forever. Well, at least in nowadays terms. It's gonna... Anyway. And we're off. It turns out the track was wet, and Pierre Taruffi made a big move, trying to get ahead of Caracciola and Varzi, causing 5 cars to be side by side at the start. It's a big pileup here in the first corner. But then Taruffi fell back, and von Brauchitsch took the lead, with Caracciola second, Varzi third, Stuck fourth, and Fagioli in fifth. No. That's pretty much Pierre Taruffi spun out. The Ferrari drivers of France were in a bit of a pickle. Chiron had stalled, and Dreyfus decided to follow Taruffi by crossing the grid. Oh, come on, please! And I think this might be the most classical thing here. This man might be onto something. I'm gonna follow him. That is just hilarious. I love that picture. Von Brauchitsch, as I said earlier, was in a league of his own during practice, and he still is now. First lap, 21-second lead. 2 laps, 35 seconds. 3 laps, 46 seconds. Meanwhile, in the forest, Rudolf Caracciola has lost track of him. Oops, forgot to put the end of the quote there. Achille Varzi began the race in pain and felt miserable from his aching appendicitis. So he handed the car over to Auto Union's reserve, Hermann Zuleiningen. Rest my weary hip. My turn! As here he comes now. The Nurburgring was big, and I mean big. 14 miles. That's enough to support different kinds of weather, like rain on one area and sun on another, and temperature changed rapidly, making a catastrophic effect on ignition. To say, sometimes it could be raining around the start line of the Nurburgring, and it could be sunny in the mountains. This is a really big track, guys. The temperature changes had indeed broken the plugs of the Auto Union of Heinz Stuck and the Maserati of Goffredo Zehnder. Looks like we've had it. Fagioli got affected by these problems, but he managed to rectify it. And we're off. But there's more. We also have the leader, von Brauchitsch, ahead by 2 minutes on a track that takes 11 minutes to get around, whose plugs are starting to fall off. He gave payback to the engine by over-revving it. Come on! He's starting to get really angry about this. He's known for destroying his car. Von Brauchitsch was causing a ruckus. The peace of the afternoon for Philippe Tancelin was shattered by a loud and unpleasant Mercedes-Benz engine. After 5 seconds, the engine was suffering from physical abuse from the driver, so it blew up. Then von Brauchitsch panicked unnecessarily. After all, he had a big lead. Why? Why do you have to throw in the towel? Meanwhile, Rudolf Caracciola comes. How many times do I have to tell you, Manfred, to stop destroying your engine? After Caracciola had came and calmed down von Brauchitsch, he was the new leader. In second was a young man who seems to have redeemed himself really well, Mr. Rosemeyer. 26-year-old Bernd started from 9th position on the grid, but he was calm. After 2 laps he was in 7th, and then 5th on lap 4. And then others had plug problems, so he got even further ahead. Hermann Lang in his debut race managed to keep up, but now at the twists of Planchgarten, he made a rookie mistake and spun. However, he did manage to rejoin in 5th place. All these nice big twists. Oops! Well, the Audi logo mocks him. Meanwhile, at the front, as Rosemeyer and Caracciola come to begin lap 9, the young Auto Union driver has passed the Nurburgring master in front of the main crowd. Ha! Gotcha! That's pretty much what Rosemeyer's thinking. And the crowd cheers for him. Huge cheers. Rosemeyer could feel a sensation. He was on his way to victory in just his 2nd automobile race ever. Through lap 9 and 10, Caracciola followed closely, but Bernd kept him at bay. As Rosemeyer began the final lap, a stone, at the most spontaneous yet perfect aim, had smash hit his windscreen, and his engine lost 2 cylinders in the process. But remember, he had a V16 engine, so he still had 14 left. Whoa, my windscreen! That's not poo. That is a stone. What was that supposed to be? My gosh. Now, although Rosemeyer lost 13% of his engine, he could still keep himself in first. But then, at the swallowtail corner, Rosemeyer missed a gear, and so he stumbled while trying to get it back, allowing Caracciola to pass. On the very long straight, at the end, Caracciola could determine whether his lead would turn into victory or not. As it turned out, it was victory. That was a great race, Bernd. So there we are. Rudolf Caracciola wins the Eifelrennen for the 3rd time and takes his 7th victory at the Nurburgring. This race was historical. The master of the Eifel Mountains had won, and yet the crowd had seen a new and young Grand Prix star. He was now recognized as being a top representative for his team. The Auto Union team manager is very proud of his hard work. And then, of course, is his wife, Ellie Beinhardt. And now there comes his first autograph. He's now signing autographs. He's joined the business of signing autographs like every other driver. So now, here's the official results of the 1935 Eifelrennen, the German Grand Prix preparation race. In first was Rudolf Caracciola. In second, Bernd Rosemeyer. Third, only 2 seconds behind. Third, Louis Chiron of Alfa Romeo was 1.5 minutes off. And far behind, Luigi Fargioli in 4th, far behind his colleague. 4 minutes off. And in 5th, we have Hermann Lang in Mercedes-Benz, 5 minutes and 46 seconds. And in 6th is Paul Piech in the Auto Union. 6, exactly a minute off of Lang, 6 minutes 46. And in 7th is the other French Ferrari driver, René Dreyfus. He's in the Tipo. He did 8 minutes 27 off. and Felipe Tansalan, the last man to finish on that same lap. Or actually, everyone did, but there's Felipe Tansalan in his Maserati. 11 minutes, 9 seconds. And then in ninth was Achille Varzi and Hermann Zulainen in the Auto Union, almost 12 minutes off. Then the DNFs. Manfred von Braukitsch had an ignition problem. Goffredo Zehender and Heinz Stuck had plug problems in their Maserati and Auto Union. Renato Balestrero has an unknown problem for retirement, and Piero Taruffi had a crash in his Bugatti Type 59. Laszlo Hartmann, Bugatti Type 51, unknown, and Dudley Furran, Bugatti Type 54, had an engine failure. The 3 Bugattis that participated in the race had all finished on the bottom. It's really disappointing, I guess. Well, hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, click the like or subscribe button, or leave a comment. I'll see you next week for a big race. A race that counts towards the European Championship of Automobile Racing. The French Grand Prix at Montelleri. Up next, 1935 AIACR European Championship Race 2. The French Grand Prix.